On a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably call this job maybe a 7. A lot of parts have to come out, and a lot of things have to get replaced, and a lot of washers have to get replaced, and a lot of detail has to be taken to make sure everything goes back in the right way, and you don't damage anything on the way back in. But you can tell this is me going back to the dealership, picking up a CCC valve right here, brand new. These, I have 198,000 miles in my car. It had to get replaced. It's probably a good benchmark to get that replaced regardless of what's going on. Here are a whole bunch of new hoses. This hose connects to the, let's see, this hose. Yeah, so like this part goes into here. It's like, and basically I looked inside of it. You can actually see it. This is the old hose that I broke off to try to get the CCC valve out. And just looking inside here, it seems like there hasn't been any flow of air through this hose. It just looks very crusty and old, and like the pump isn't actually working. So yeah, that was just doing nothing there, just sort of sitting there doing nothing. And I don't know what else that would cause. This could be why the oil is being consumed. Who knows? There's thousands of different reasons why these things happen. So yeah, these all get replaced. That gets replaced. This is the, I don't know exactly what this is called, but this mounts to the air intake, and it like vents the nasty, oily air that the car decide to feed back into the engine for some reason. I don't know, it's a bad idea in general. I don't know why they did it, but anyway, that has to get fixed because it's broken. So then here's more parts. We have, you know, DISA, master airflow sensor, front boot, back boot. Here are all the bolts that had to be taken out. Some more tools I'm using. Tools, cleaners for the engine bay. Let's see, throttle body cleaner. Okay, and then we have this electrode cleaner. This is a very I'd say, acidic or abrasive or harsh spray that you can clean things with. You can clean anything with, but it doesn't work that well for, you know, big stains. But it works pretty well, and it's safe on plastic, and it's safe on everything. It's expensive though. It's like $9, and I've used like 3 of them so far, so it adds up quickly. Here's some brake cleaner. This is sort of last resort type stuff. 2 of those. I've already been through many containers of all this stuff, so I use this stuff just to keep the engine bay clean. So if I want to make sure that things get just sort of keep the plastics soft, so like you spray them down with this, you just let it sit, and you don't have to wipe it off. In some areas I do wipe it off to make it look nice, like see, like you can see like right over here, like this area has all been like waxed and cleaned and all that good stuff. Anyway, back to the job. There's a lot of shit in here. There's a lot of things you have to worry about. It's hard to even know where to begin. I had to reroute cables from, like, this cable right here usually goes in front of the engine, and it mounts to the solenoid. And it mounts to something else in here, and there's more sensors, and that. But had to get pulled out to then be able to access the CCV crankcase ventilation valve, and I had to be able to take this few brackets out. There was a bracket right there. That was a bracket I pulled out. Yeah, so this is it's a multi-step process to get this CCV valve out. I'm almost at the point where I'm considering it might be easier just to pull out the entire intake than it would be to continue on trying to get this valve. The valve's actually, it's in between. You can see the cylinders here. It's in between the 3rd cylinder. It's like right. It's sort of like. Let's see if I can get the camera down here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I can't really tell what I'm pointing at, but that looks like the CCC valve. That's the top part of it. That's the throttle body area, and that's the CCC valve. And it is buried deep inside this car. If you don't have like 4 hours, 5 hours, don't try this. This is not easy. Okay. Here's the idle control valve in the process of being cleaned. Here's the throttle body in the process of being cleaned. So you can tell it's looking a lot better. I sprayed it down and it's looking a lot cleaner. There's still some grime on it. I don't know if I can focus on it. Let's see. There's still some grime. You can tell right here. But yeah, it's definitely coming along. I'm going to clean the outside also, make it look really good. And of course I'm using specific throttle body cleaner. Stuff is good. Stuff does the job. No complaints. Except for the fact that you go through these bottles so quickly and they cost like, I think this one was like $5.95. The stuff that I would use to clean the plastics, and this area is like $9 a can, and it goes quickly. So yeah, I don't use this to clean the plastic area. I avoid the plastic area because it could damage it, or I don't know. I just read the label and it says don't do it, so I don't do it. That's that. But it's looking good. Yeah. So here's a question. What is a CCC valve? Sometimes called a crankcase ventilation valve, sometimes called a cold cranking valve. Who knows what it is? But this is it. And they fail a lot on BMWs. This one looks particularly gnarly. If you can, that's oil buildup. That's oil residue. I couldn't get this part taken off because it's a sealed end. So I don't know what's in there, but on the other side, basically all it is there's a spring right here. Fits in the middle of this. And then this disc rests on top of the spring. And then it just sort of, I guess somehow this movement creates suction which pulls oil, or I don't know what it does, but it's something involving the buildup of pressure with oil gases. And you can see that although it's meant for emissions and it's meant to make the world a little bit greener place, you can see this right here. This is a pressure bleed off. And you can see right in there that there's a little plastic nipple sticking out of that area. So if this was to over-pressurize, it would just vent the oil gas directly into the engine bay. And that probably circumvents emissions, I believe. So, little tricks from BMW. Alright.